Good afternoon. Earlier today, I tabled the Domestic Partnership Act 2017, which is designed to extend a raft of legal benefits to same-sex couples and heterosexual couples who wish to engage in a domestic partnership. This act is consistent with our election platform, which said that the issue of marriage would be that of a conscience vote, same-sex marriage. Also, we also stated that we would ensure that same-sex couples would have a raft of legal benefits accorded to them. Now, before I get into the processes by which we came to this point today, let me speak briefly about why we are where we are today. We are at this point legislatively because we have a rift in our community between two competing positions, one in support of same-sex marriage or marriage equality, the other fundamentally opposed to it and who view marriage as that between a man and a woman. The more immediate political consequence is that there was a very high likelihood, or the very real likelihood, that a private mammoth bill would have been tabled in Parliament, which would have outlawed same-sex marriage and afforded no rights whatsoever to same-sex couples. The majority of MPs would have supported that bill, and we would have been in a position that's fundamentally contrary to what is currently in place. This government, taking leadership on the issue, has decided to bring forth this bill, which will ensure that same-sex couples will have a raft of legal benefits, in fact more so than they currently have under the existing legislation. As I said earlier, we would ensure there was a consultative process for dealing with this issue, and we have now had 3 weeks of consultation on this matter. We had a town hall meeting, which was a very lively event with a great deal of input. We have had over 3,000 emails submitted to us by members of the community, both in Bermuda and abroad. And we have had consultation with stakeholder groups, key stakeholder groups, including the Human Rights Commission, the Center for Justice, Out Bermuda, and Preserve Marriage. What we have before us today, that was submitted in Parliament today, represents a series of amended pieces of legislation, a series of amendments to that proposed legislation as a result of the consultation process. We believe this is the ideal way forward at this time, and we hope that the Bermuda public will at some point come to fully understand and appreciate the steps which this government has taken. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments you may have.
Minister, has anything changed in those amendments as a result of the consultation?
Yes. We have a series of amendments to the bill, and if you take a look at the bill, you'll be able to see. I'm not going to go into detail on all of the amendments, but one in particular was to change the use of the term celebrant for those officials who would formalize a who would formalize a domestic partnership. We changed the wording from celebrant to domestic partnership officer. That was one. And we've also looked at some other important amendments to that.
When will the bill be readily available to the public to look at in full?
I believe the bill is available now, so the members of the media will get it sent to them quite shortly, and the bill will be debated on December 8th.
You talked about consultation and consultation with the Human Rights Commission specifically. They came out this week and said they wanted more time. They feel there's more consultation should have been done. Why? Is that something you considered, and obviously why did you not side with them on that and say, yes, we should have some more consultation on this?
Well, as I said, we believe that the time period we allocated was adequate. You would note that a previous bill that we tabled had an even shorter period, so we've extended it to effectively a 3-week period of consultation. And I suspect that you would have some who would identify any period of consultation as being insufficient. But we believe that 3 weeks was more than adequate, and we did get a substantive set of comments back to us from the Human Rights Commission.
People have described this legislation as regressive and going backwards and putting Bermuda back rather than forward. I'm sure it's a question you've answered before, but now that the bill's actually been tabled, it shows that that commitment is there. It's going to be debated on December the 8th, like you say. What do you say to those people who say this is regressive and this isn't a progressive step forward?
Sure. For those who argue that position, they need to fully appreciate the political reality that we have to confront. That if we did nothing, you would have a situation that is currently in place whereby persons of same sex are able to be married, but they are not afforded a wide raft of legal benefits that would normally come with marriage, because there is no appetite in Parliament to amend the other legislation that's required to ensure full marriage equality. So what this bill does is address those silences or those issues that are not addressed in the current legal framework. Obviously, the proponents of same-sex marriage will see it as a step backward, and certainly they're entitled to express their view, and many will see it as such. But recognizing also that there is a fundamental divide in our community, and had we done nothing, there would have been a private member's bill tabled, which would have outlawed same-sex marriage altogether, with no rights afforded to same-sex couples.
You say that that private member's bill would have passed. What makes you say that?
Well, one is always influenced by past events, and we saw what happened in the last parliamentary session. Members have been pulled in Parliament on both sides, and we understand where the positions are.
Afternoon, Minister.
Sir?
During one of your public consultations, a suggestion was made that somebody might be inclined to put forward amendments to your bill. Do you have any concerns about that?
Well, the parliamentary process is robust. It allows for a minister and government to table legislation. Any member of Parliament is able to propose amendments to any legislation. That's part of the parliamentary process. I believe that we have looked at this bill very carefully. We have considered a multitude of issues based on the consultative process, and we believe this is the best way forward. So any amendment, we will look at very carefully. Any proposed amendment, we will look at very carefully. I believe that this is the best step forward at this time.